horticulturist? Has a hammer ever made someone a carpenter? Or a shovel a horticulturist? Does a camera make a photographer? Or a wrench a mechanic? Has a paintbrush ever made an artist? Or a pen a writer? Does a textbook make a teacher? Or a knife a chef? Tools have never created the skill. They're simply a conduit. A conduit teeming with education, talent, and experience. Likewise, hearing and tinnitus treatment tools have never made an audiologist. But when the very best tools are in the hands of the very best specialists, magic happens. At the Excellence in Audiology Network, certified specialists have both the state-of-the-art tools and proven knowledge to create so much more than better hearing and reduced tinnitus. They create confidence and independence, and that confidence and independence is priceless.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody to a great day on marketing. A masterclass on marketing this past week. If you can hear me, go ahead and chat into the box. Let's make sure everybody is engaged and chatting in. I'm sure you might have some questions, so go ahead and chat into the box. Tell me you're here, thumbs up, say hello. Got some chat is disabled. Thanks, Devin. Try it again. We're back with you. Everybody has access now. Love it. Thank you, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. Devin, thanks for being on top of it there. I am so excited to have everybody here. I think I have Morgan with me. If he's here, he can probably unmute himself and say hello. But he's been the impetus for me to really have this meeting, to share the masterclass I saw in real time this last week, last 10 days with Phonak. So Morgan, if you're here and want to chat in, I do have a couple questions for you. Maybe you can give everybody some context, but definitely want to talk about the sphere of marketing. Definitely want to talk about what you can do in your practice to either treat more patients, sell more hearing aids, whatever your vision is as a company. Glad to have you here today. We're going to take about 45 minutes. I'm going to try and cram as much as I can into 45 minutes. I do realize that it will be a lot. I do realize it's going to be high level and that you're going to have more questions. That's why you have access to Morgan at Odd Experts or myself. So definitely, if there's something we touch on, if there's a topic we touch on, if there's a concept, if there's a tactic or a marketing piece, by all means, chat it in here or reach out to Morgan after today's call. We can hop on the phone. We can do a follow-up class. We can dive a mile deep on that strategy, principle, tactic, whatever it might be. But thank you for taking some time out of your morning to be here. I hope you enjoyed that video. That video is something we created about 3 years ago. The video that we had to start today is really what I believe, which is hearing healthcare audiology is about you. You, the provider, you, the practice owner, you, the practice, you, the team. And you use a lot of tools to provide that overall healthcare. So this is one of them, and one of the major manufacturers out there. I think they have probably a great product. They're well known. They're at the top of the field. And more important than anything to me, who's not an audiologist, who's not a hearing instrument specialist, is the masterclass that they've put on in marketing the last 10 days. And most of you that attended, or most of you that participated, were participants in that masterclass. So maybe chat in, if you would, if you were there in Las Vegas or are still in Las Vegas. Chat in. I love it. We got some people still there. Fantastic. So product launches, they happen from all the major manufacturers, and sometimes they're displays of marketing perfection, and sometimes they're not. Looks like we have a lot of, yes, participate. Love it, love it, love it. Keep chatting in there. We'll just keep hoping that maybe Morgan joins us for a minute, because I do have a couple questions for him. But either way, what you saw Phonak do, even if you put aside product for a minute, because some people will love Phonak, some people won't love Phonak, whatever the reason is. That's not why I'm here today. What I'm here today to talk about marketing principles, strategies, and tactics. So what Phonak just did is something that you should be looking at as a learning opportunity, as a masterclass in marketing, to say, how do I replicate what they just did to me and to 1,200 other practice owners, specialists, and how do I replicate that back to the patient? And that's where you will really change lives. That's where you will really grow the treatment rate in hearing healthcare and in our profession above the 17 or 20% that it's currently at. That's how you will reach more of the 1.5 billion people who need your help. It's not going to be the color of a sphere. It's not going to be a piece of technology or a tool that is part of your treatment plan. So I'm super glad to have you here. What were your biggest takeaways? If you were there, are there, if you saw the LinkedIn posts all over the place, what were some of the marketing things that you saw that you absolutely loved? Not the channels, not the frequencies, not the audiology nerd stuff, but the actual marketing that you saw. If you saw something, what was exciting or inspiring to you that you were part of this week? Got it in there. Love it, Ashley. Elevation and change in the profession of audiology. Nice. Anything else? Any other masterclass items? So some of the things I'll start sharing, the wow factor, absolutely, right? So one of the biggest things that it is the job of advertising to do. Now, I'm not talking about marketing, because marketing is a very big umbrella term, but advertising in and of itself, stage one in the marketing cycle, is the job to interrupt. And I think what we saw more than absolutely anything was a wow factor, right? Everybody who was on LinkedIn, everybody who got a mailer in the mail, everybody that got invited to attend had their life absolutely interrupted. They were putting their back to school plans on hold. They were putting weddings on hold, birthdays on hold. They last minute hopped on a red eye to fly to Las Vegas, right? So what Phonak did, what Sonova did as a master class, and this is something you should be taking notes over on the side, is they interrupted the daily routine, the monthly routine, the quarterly routine. So you can ask yourself, what can I do to interrupt my patients' lives? What can I do to interrupt their Facebook scrolling? What can I do to interrupt their Google searches? What can I do to interrupt their mailbox? Because that's what happened. There was a big interruption into what people already had plans. I promise you, people changed their plans to be in Las Vegas or to post a picture. That's number one that I saw, interruption. Yeah, I do have questions, Morgan.
Yeah,
Go ahead
can
and
you hear me now,
unmute
Derek?
yourself. So,
Testing.
Morgan, you were asking this question. Morgan is the top business advisor here at Audit Experts. Alongside, he's been with me for, I think, over a decade now. You help a lot of practice owners, and you were the one sitting there as the strategist asking me these questions. You've seen probably nothing like it before in hearing healthcare or audiology, and you were asking me these questions that got us started and got our coaching clients here at Audit Experts going. So what was it that caught your attention, or why were you so surprised at what happened here?
Jared, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. When I first joined your practice, Jared, I think it was the first year that Otakon took everybody to Disney World, right? And that was like a big, huge to do. Everybody was excited for obvious reasons. It was a break from work. It was very exciting. They were paying for everything. And then I remember shortly after that in hearing healthcare, that was essentially banned. It was vetoed. You weren't allowed to do that anymore, right? And so after that, manufacturer events and the rollout of new hearing aids, it got quite boring, in my opinion. It kind of everybody sort of toned it down a little bit, and maybe they went somewhere fun, but it wasn't as flashy, and they couldn't pay for things, and blah blah blah. And then Phonak came along with this new Sphere thing in Las Vegas, and it blew me away that all of these business owners that tell us all the time, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overworked, life is busy, we're having a slow summer, things are chaotic, and I'm going to stop everything that I'm doing and I'm going to go to Las Vegas to go see this thing. And I just kept asking, what's happening? What's the difference? What's this new thing? And I realized very quickly that what we were talking about and what you just mentioned is that Phonak had convinced everybody that they needed to put their life on pause and put everything down and fly to Las Vegas just because. Not for any, no one could give me any one specific reason as to why they were flying or what was happening in Las Vegas or what the big to do was. They just had to be there. And when you watched on social media and you started seeing people pop up with these little green balls all over their Instagram and hashtag something big is coming, they created a frenzy. They created a subgroup of people inside of a community that felt very cool. It felt like you were in the inside cool kids club. It felt like if you didn't have a green ball, if you weren't posting, and if you weren't going to Las Vegas, then somehow you were going to fall behind in life or in business or in the latest to do. And that was just, for me, it was fascinating because it wasn't even the fun of Disney World quite yet or the fun of Vegas. It was this, if I don't go, then what if? And I thought that was like the most powerful marketing message of all is if you're not there, then something you're missing, right? And that was just fascinating.
Well, I mean, Morgan, don't let everybody fool you. Las Vegas is like the Disneyland or the Disney World for adults. So, there was free plane tickets, free hotels, plenty of drinking, gambling, time of their life, right? And that fear of missing
Oh,
out. But I
sure.
think the principle I would write down here, right, is people buy with emotion and they justify it logically, right? So to your point, they wanted to be part of something. You don't need to be in Las Vegas to buy Phonak hearing aids. You didn't need to hop on an airplane at the last minute. You didn't need to go through all of that. You didn't need to leave your practice. You didn't need to shut down sales in your practice to be there. But the emotion of being around it, the community, the inspiration, and then you logically say, well, I made it all the way here. These things sound great. Let's buy some hearing aids, right? So definitely a lot of components of marketing there. And I would just on that side of your paper again, write down, how do I create this much excitement and emotion on a day-to-day basis in my practice and for my patients, right? And that's why we do live events. And some of the pieces I'll show you here in a few minutes is we're creating that level of commitment, excitement, emotion daily. And that should be your job. If you're the marketing director, the owner, if you're looking to grow your practice, that's what you need to do. And I think the thing that I want to share with everybody is you don't need to be the best audiologist, right? We probably have half this group. Some of this group says Phonak's the best, some says they're not. And it doesn't actually even matter about the product. There was no science at that launch. There was no peer-reviewed journals at that launch. There was Phonak created science, but what they did was the best marketer of what they do, right? They created a movement and a community and an excitement level, and they brought people together. And what they did, and another principle, write this one down because it will be talked about a little bit later here, is they turned 1,200 people into advocates with a green ball. They turned 1,200 people into promoters for their product with a trip. And it reminds me, we have a client up in Wisconsin that's doing an event, and guess what she's going to do? She's going to load people on a bus. She's going to drive them down to Wisconsin for a Dr. Darrow event. She's going to feed them lunch, take them to a winery, and have a great time on this bus trip from her practice into the city of Madison. And that, yet again, there's an experience. It reminds me of our VIP events, but more than anything, write this down. You don't have to be the best audiologist, the best programmer, the best hearing specialist. You have to be the best marketer of what you do. And you have to learn from people that have done it well. Phonak did it absolutely amazing this week. I hope that I've done it pretty well. My name's Jared Brader. For those of you that don't know me, I own and run the Hearing and Brain Centers of America and the top-rated coaching group for private practices in the country. This is my journey, growing a practice from $438,000 a year in revenue to $100,000 a day in revenue. And what we're doing right now is building that foundational company in that $20 to $50 million growth pattern so that we can continue to protect and propel private practice. So if you don't know about me, you're welcome to go to audexperts.com. You can find out more about us. But I thank you again for joining us here, for learning from Phonak, for learning from the masterclass this week, and from learning from our coaching group and Morgan. Any other impact on that? I know you had so much to say. I know you have a video you're releasing after this, but anything else that pops into your mind for that group to consider, ponder, or write down before we move into some of the marketing stuff?
Yeah. And I think, Jared, you're 100% correct. Of the talks we've had since, I think for me, the green ball started popping up on Instagram, which is kind of my reference point of when did people catch wind of this thing on Monday or Tuesday. And since then, our conversations, for me, again, this is not a widget or what is the best hearing aid phone call. We can debate that over drinks and have a friendly conversation about that anytime. This is simply, how did they attract that much attention? How did they interrupt all these people's lives? And I would urge everybody to be honest with themselves. I think the first thing that I asked Dr. Darrow, who is one of you people, he's a provider in the industry, is I said, well, and this is a common question, what's the difference, right, with the hearing aid itself? And again, there may be differences, there may not be differences. The people that were in Las Vegas have not fit those hearing aids yet. The vast majority of them have not. So to sit there and say this is the best product ever and this is revolutionary, I think is simply just that, to your point, Jared, it was such a conviction that they had built before they had even fit those devices, before they even got to Las Vegas. People were saying this is revolutionary. How do we recreate that with our patients? How do we make the patients believe that before they walk in your front door, that this is revolutionary? Somehow Phonak did it. Now, if you're honest with yourselves, were you flying to Las Vegas? Would you have been so excited? Would it have been such a wow factor if they didn't pay for everything? So if it was as simple as that, if we could pay for everything for our patients, if we could pay their gas bill before they arrive, if we could fly them in on a private jet, if we could do all these amazing things, boom, would that do it? Would then they show up to our office saying this is revolutionary? I think not. I think there's something deeper there. And I think that's what Jared's going to talk about in the goal for the next 35 to 40 minutes for you all. How do I create that much conviction for my patients, that much belief in me as the audiologist, not the hearing aid, that my clinic, what we're about to do for the next 2 hours inside of the clinic, is so revolutionary, so groundbreaking, so amazing that they're telling everybody before they arrive and long after they leave.
I love that. And it's exactly what we do, for the last 14 years that I've been in private practice and kind of documenting this journey from, everything on how to market to how to build systems, build teams, how to order more toilet paper. What I've really seen is we've done that on a small scale, right? We have patients who know the price before they come in. I've had a patient pay before they've came in, right? And the number one question we always get is, well, how do you get that energy, that commitment, that money up front before you've ever even done a hearing test? Right. And I think that a Phonak proved that this week, that people will take action. People will commit to something before they ever even hear about it, read the research or papers, compare it, contrast it. And so definitely some great principles. Definitely interrupt me, Morgan. If you have something, I might reach out to you on a couple of these topics here. But if you're on this call right now on a Friday morning from Las Vegas, from anywhere in the country, you probably you left this event inspired, you're emotionally inspired, you're triggered, you're amped up, you're ready to go. And if it's anything like any event I've ever been to in hearing healthcare or probably anywhere, but what's the tactical implementation blueprint? What do I actually do in my private practice to take this much energy and continue with it. Because otherwise we get a week bump, we get a month bump, maybe we even get a quarterly bump in our private practice. We get spike marketing results and we have some good numbers for a little bit. And then what happens? Then we start going down. And that's exactly why these manufacturers release new products every 18 months to 2 years, because they start to see their sales dip. They're a transactional company that sells a product. And so they have to pump everybody back up with new releases, right? And I've only been around for 14 years. And every 2 years for 14 years, I've heard this is better, it's faster, it's quicker, it sounds better in noise, it's shinier, it's more waterproof, it's more dustproof, it has a better battery life. I've heard that every single launch for 2 years from every single manufacturer. And that keeps us going. There's nothing wrong with that. But how do we actually take our vision and make it more inspiring, take our vision and make it larger to hit 1.5 billion people, to increase our lowest medical condition treatment rate that we have here in audiology and hearing healthcare to something more like diabetes or cancer or some other major medical conditions? How do we do it bigger? How do we do it to where we don't ebb and flow and need these spike injections of inspiration, but that it's always going because of what we're doing? Maybe you're here because you're worried about over the counter. Maybe you're here because you have too many third parties in your practice and you're not making the cash flow you need or the profit that you need to hire, grow, and expand. We've pushed through those plateaus that I showed you a minute ago, and I'm happy to dive deep into that. Maybe you're here just because you want more cash paying patients or more patients in general. And you say, hey, I got so excited this week and there's this new product and it's 55 times faster and it has 2 computer chips. And I want to help more people. Maybe you're here because you want more of your current patients to say yes. Maybe you're here because you want more of your patients to upgrade into this new widget, this new technology, this new product, this new tool. Maybe you're here because you want to differentiate. Maybe you're here because you want to be the trusted authority in your marketplace. Maybe you're here because you want private practice to be bigger, better at the top of its scope of practice. Maybe you're here just to learn. And you want to see what we've done over the last 14 years, the practice that we've built, the coaching community, the 200 locations around the world. So whatever your reason is here, chat in if you want to chat in a number from that list, chat in if there's something you specifically want to leave here today. What I would like to do is meet you all in person, because 30 minutes or 45 minutes is not enough for us to build a relationship. It's not enough for us to dive into everything that I've done wrong, everything that I've done right in the last 14 years. So I want you to sign up for audiologyascending.com. I want to see you back in Las Vegas at the Sphere. I want to see you back in Las Vegas at a 2-day event with private practice owners who are winning around the world. That's what I want. You chat in 1 through 7. What do you want? Another thing I want for you guys today is to take away at least 3 action items so that Monday morning's hangover doesn't hit you, right? You get back to practice, you have clean-in checks to do, you have evals to do, you get back, you have bills to pay, and now we don't actually take that inspiration, put it to massive action. We don't have speed of success. Chat in. Feel free to chat in. I want to make sure that you guys get what you want. So chat in 1 through 7. Chat in your takeaways for us today. Awesome. Thanks, Bernice. Love to have you here. I love it. Trusted Authority. Bernice is doing a pretty good job up in Canada. Absolutely great implementer up there. So thanks for chatting in. What a product company, and I use widget, I don't use widget in a derogatory term, but it is a widget, right? Just like a car is a widget and a hammer is a widget. But what product companies do, or widget companies do, is they talk about product feature benefit. They talk about competitive superiority, right? So I'm sure if you were at Phonak this week, you saw what I saw from a distance, which was 50 times faster, 2 computer chips, better speech and noise, better speech to noise ratio. You saw all of those product features and benefits. Now, the number one thing I would ask you right here, right now, is I don't hear from my coaching community. I don't hear from the Aud Experts practice owners that the number one problem in their practice is that the product isn't good enough. I don't think I've heard any of our members say this, Morgan. You take a lot more weekly coaching calls, but do our clients say that the problem in hearing healthcare, the reason we only have a 17% treatment rate, is because the tool isn't shiny enough, sharp enough, good enough to solve problems? Think about that. I don't hear it. I hear that it's too expensive. I hear that it's not affordable enough. I hear that we can't reach enough people. I hear that we need more leads. But I don't hear, I need, yeah, more butts in the seats. But I don't hear that I need something with 2 computer chips, twice as fast, different color. So be careful when you get jumped into the hype of a specific product or feature, that you are the product. You are the one buying that and monetizing it for the manufacturer. And what they're talking about is product first. They're trying to sell you to promote their product. They're giving you marketing to use that promotes their product. They're talking about features and benefits that your patients are not asking for on the telephone, that your patients are not responding to in your direct mail campaigns. But we're pumped up, we're hyped up, we're excited again. That's great. I love it. That will help us change more lives. That will help us make our practices better. That will help us grow our teams. But don't get distracted from what your patients actually want. Here's a couple examples straight from Phonak. Like I said, it's not about Phonak. I could do this with every manufacturer out there, every creator of every tool and every product out there. These are amazing features. Once again, how often do you lose a treatment because there's no My Phonak app? How often do you lose or not help a patient because there wasn't health data tracking inside of a hearing aid? They're great features. They're awesome from a top company, an amazing product. But is that what your patient is actually asking for in their daily life? Is that what your patient is responding to in the marketing? Once again, if I took the word or the brand off of this and replaced it with another brand, is it any different? Is there differentiation at all in the marketing? Or does it look like everything you've seen every 2 years for the last 14 years as well? What I want you to do is take some massive action today. We've already done it. The team over at excellenceinaudioology.org/shared services, already making ads, already making Facebook posts. If you don't already, your website vendor should have this content on your website so that the Google search engines can find you, so that people that do end up searching it, once again, I checked Google all weekend in all of our clients' markets, and I did not see a statistical number that proves that this is what patients are searching for. I have yet to hear a phone call of a patient that called in asking for a specific make, model, color, style, processing capability, or computer chip in a hearing aid. We're lucky if they can pronounce the brand of the hearing aids that we provide in the clinic. So while we're hyped up as audiologists, as nerds, as hearing specialists, because we like technology, we like gizmos, gadgets, products, features, and benefits, remember what the top questions are from your patients. And I have proof. Tens of thousands of phone calls that we listen to, our trainers listen to, our community listens to, that says what patients are actually asking about on the telephone, what their first question out of their mouth is, what the second question out of their mouth is, what the third question out of their mouth is. And the vast majority of the features and benefits about products are not those questions. So when you get excited to use the free marketing, when you get excited and you start running the letters that they tell you to run that promote their brand, their product, their features, their benefits, remember if this is working for your practice and your patients, or if it's really working for them. Other things you should be doing, if you haven't already, these are things to write down. Like I said, I would go back here on your websites, everybody's website. If you're gonna promote this way, if you're gonna market hearing aids, if you're gonna talk about brands, you should have a page. It can be a hidden page on your website that talks about it so that the search engines, the Google, everything can be found. You should also have ads, display network ads. You should also have social media ads. Once again, the team over at excellenceinaudioology.org shared services can help you with those things if you don't have them already. Not something I'm going to use in my practice because I don't believe that this is what people want. I believe that 83% of the world with hearing loss does not want hearing aids. So putting a hearing aid on my marketing is going to chase more people away than it helps take action to the next step in their treatment journey. It's my philosophy. There's plenty of people that sell hearing aids. There's plenty of people that have success selling hearing aids. And there's plenty of people that have that approach. Mine is just a little bit different. If you're also going to do this, you want your Google AdWords, you want to make sure that you're ranking for different phrases. So that the team this weekend, yesterday actually, over at Excellence in Audiology, was doing this for my practice, typing in a bunch of keywords, making sure we're searching. You can have this done by Monday. And as Phonak's marketing spend ramps up, as all of those 1,200 practice owners in the country start promoting the Phonak brand, start promoting this make and model of hearing aid, if you have these in your ads, if you have these in your SEO content, if you have these in your posts, you're going to start to get traction from their free marketing, right? The one thing I would caution you, and another example of why I don't like hearing aid marketing, is I already did a search on Google. Guess what came up first? Not only do you have competitors in your marketing, in your market, that are going to use the same free marketing that you use, the same free direct mail that you use, which means you're just going to be another apple in a sea of apples. But when you search the product, any product online, you get the low price. And what I want you to do is stand out from all of that like an apple in the sea of oranges. What I want you to do is to talk about your service, your care, your treatment plan, your 4-year value proposition, your transformational relationship with patients and their healthcare and their wellness instead of a product. Once you start setting the tone for product sales, it's a race to the bottom. And that's what you've seen in hearing healthcare. That's what I've seen in hearing healthcare for 14 years. Everybody's prices going down, third parties coming. Think about it. Hearing healthcare, when I started, asked for insurance coverage. Guess what they got? Third-party insurance benefits. Didn't help private practice. They asked for support in business and marketing. What did they get? Buying groups. Guess who made all the money? The buying group. So every time audiology and hearing healthcare has asked for something, they've gotten it, but it still hasn't helped us treat more patients. We haven't reached more of the 1.5 billion people. We're not creating a better value proposition. We're not having a healthcare conversation, and prices are going down and pressure on private practice is increasing. So be careful what you ask for, and then decide later today when I show you more pieces, more content, more marketing, which approach do you want? And what's your next steps, your action items towards that future? And like I said, I think we have a pretty good track record with my practice, with also the practices in our community of what we're doing. What wellness or health companies talk about, what good companies, smart companies talk about, is what the desire of the consumer, the donor, the client, the patient wants. We have Nashley Brogan's on here, does absolutely amazing job talking about the patient. She does an amazing job telling the story. And of all the green blobs I saw out there, of all the marketing for the Phonak event, everybody that showed up in Las Vegas, Nashley was the one that told me a story that I resonated with about her first hearing aid, about what that journey was like, and about why she was committed to a transformational company that changed her life. That was marketing that resonated. That was marketing that has legs. And that was marketing that you could turn into social media posts, direct mail letters. I know she's going to do a live event all about it. But definitely, if you want to see somebody that knows how to not talk about a product, but still talk about healthcare, wellness, feelings, and life impact, you need to go follow Nashley Brogan. And Nashley, you need to 10x that content, right? Tell that story everywhere. Other things that, the wellness companies talk about is trust and confidence, right? Highly rated Google reviews, video testimonials. They talk about the fear of not taking action, right? Pain is the #1 driver. I have it all the time. New practices join the community and say, Jared, your marketing is too mean. Your marketing is fearful. Your marketing is negative. Your marketing is scary. Guess what? That is what people respond to in all healthcare, in all facets of life. We also have guarantees at the Hearing and Brain Centers. We definitely recommend not making it a transactional relationship about money or sales, but guaranteeing the treatment. right? If somebody's not getting a benefit from your treatment plan, from your product, from your technology, from your skill, I don't want their money. So if you can find a way to make no risk solutions that get people the treatment they need, if you can find a way to have feel good choices and affinity bragging rights, stories, affirmations, look at this screen here. And I want to flip back and forth. And Morgan, while I do that, I want you to tell me what you saw from 1,200 hearing healthcare professionals when they flew across the country. Were some of them afraid of not coming? Were some of them hopping on red eyes at the last minute? Were some of them rescheduling pre-planned events? Tell me what you saw out there.
Yeah, I mean, all of the above, right? You saw not just the operational side of things, the patients that may or may not have been scheduled. And I recognize that for some people, you've been planning on Vegas, and I know others haven't. So that's out there too. But it's not just operational, it's personal life matters as well. It's financial life matters, flying across, or when you arrive in Vegas, the money that you shouldn't have gambled, the things you participated in Vegas that you shouldn't have, coming back to work Monday, sluggish, hungover. It's compounding effect. It's not just as simple as I walked away from patients. But on top of that, I think the fear is, here's the number one fear that I got, Jared. If I don't fly to Las Vegas, they're going to know something I don't know, right? They're going to have access to something that I don't have access to. They're going to get it before me. And them being the other audiologist, the person in a different state, the person in a different country, the person that's down the road, the fear of there's a new thing. And if I'm not in the know and I'm not present, I'm going to fall behind. Then I'm not going to X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank, whatever your main fear is. Go out of business. My patients aren't going to like me. We had a great Q&A question that got chatted about Costco. And I think that's the fear. The fear is, if I don't go participate within this manufacturer's realm, I'm going to fall behind. And that's just the manufacturer forcing you, blindly covering your eyes and telling you you're going to fall behind if you don't come and participate. And you have access to Phonak, just like Costco has access to Phonak, just like the hospital systems do, just like the VA can, just like the guy down the road, the gal up the road. Everybody does. And so that widget thing, just like Jared's saying, all of those quote unquote uniques that we saw on that website about rechargeable and all of these things, they're not unique. Everyone has access to all of the above. And so the more your marketing talks about things that everybody else can talk about, the more it's just a sea of apples and you don't stand out.
Yeah, and you don't stand out. And I think that's the biggest thing. We teach differentiation, right? Be different, not better. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that later. So now, if you kind of look at the dichotomy here, you have these options, right? Am I going to go back home and am I going to run marketing that my competitors are running, that Costco's running, that VA, whatever? Am I going to talk about things that patients aren't actually asking for on the phone? They're not coming in saying, hey, this old hearing aid has regular Bluetooth and I want low energy Bluetooth. Like truly, I've never once in probably 10,000 phone calls ever heard that question on the phone. So we have to be very, very careful with the message that we're putting out there, because the value proposition of new Bluetooth and old Bluetooth is not the type of value proposition that you need to run a healthy practice that's profitable, that can hire, that can grow, that can expand, and that can leave a legacy for you. Vastly different, right? Nobody says the reason why we're not treating another 83% of people with hearing loss is because of the type of Bluetooth energy, the type of battery length. What I found in 14 years of research, like I said, I want to help you with what I failed at, what I think I did well, what continues to work across marketing, across niches. And this is after 14 years of research. This is after $20+ million of my own marketing dollars being tested on lead acquisition, customer acquisition, patient acquisition, treatments, and everything else, that there are very specific things that are actually going on in the aging population or in those with hearing loss, and that they're having symptoms. And I'm going to share with you kind of the patient education system at a very high level. Like I said, I want to see you at audiologyascending.com. I want to see you in a 2-day event. I want to spend some more time together. But there are actual symptoms that patients experience for, on average, or not bell-shaped curve, but 8.3 years. That's how long right now people are having damage to their auditory system, having hearing loss, having tinnitus, before they take action. Now, some of those are within the first 12 and 18 months. Some of those are never, right? And so that number, I believe, is a little bit skewed, but it is the number that's out there in the profession. And so there's symptoms, and you have to look at the symptoms of the medical condition that patients are suffering with or being impacted with in their life. Once again, I haven't seen anybody that, I have a lot of you, but Nashley does an amazing job talking about the actual impact on quality of life, the actual impact on patients. And the more that you do that, I promise you, you're building transformational relationships, not transactional purchases. You're building lifetime value of patients. You're building continuity of care, and you're building the second treatment, the third treatment, the fourth treatment that will protect and propel your private practice. So definitely, take a screenshot and say, hey, when I go back on Monday and I take these 3 action steps and I decide on my future for my practice, how I'm going to get through this year and how I'm going to launch the new exciting whiz bang feature of this widget, am I talking about how the feature actually impacts the symptom? Or maybe you won't talk about the feature at all, and you'll do what we do, and you'll talk about the medical condition, the brain science, the peer-reviewed journals, the Journal of American Medical Association, like actual impact of a healthcare condition, not the features and benefits of a product. So whether you want to do product-based marketing, 100%, it works. I see people do it. Hearing Healthcare has done it forever. If you're going to do that, please, please, please just attach the feature and benefit to the symptoms. Right? At least good, better, best scale, you're making progress. But if all we do is run the same marketing letter as an upgrade letter to our database that we've always done after every product launch, and we get, so-so results, that's just too easy. And you're making a little bit of money and you're going to get by for a month, but you're not fundamentally helping more than 1.5 billion people. You're not growing the cause. You're not helping us grow the profession. So if you can take the benefit, attach it to symptoms. There's also emotions, right? And we said earlier, a lot of people hopped on an airplane. They flew to Las Vegas out of emotion, whether that was FOMO, frustration, depression, missing out, anxiety. Maybe they were lonely and wanted to see friends and relatives and other owners that are out there, right? Sense of community. So there's emotions out there, and people buy with emotion. So if your letter is a sterile letter with a brand logo and a picture of a hearing aid, and it has no emotion, no connection, no story, no testimonial, you're losing out again. And we're only going to help 17 or 20% of those out there that need it. So definitely have to include emotion in your marketing plan, your advertising plan. You have to include pain. Tell me if you're a provider. I've never even been a provider. I've never been an audiologist or a hearing specialist, and I know my patients have pain. We have over 180 video testimonials on our YouTube channel. And if you watch one of those a day, you hear pain. You hear what they were going through in their life. You hear the family event that they missed out upon. And if we don't talk to the pain, if we don't talk to their fear of living in a senior home, if we don't talk about their fear of losing their car keys, if we don't talk about their fear of sleepless nights because of tinnitus, we're missing the point, and we're not helping reduce pain. And then you have subjective desires. How often does a patient come in and say, hey, I just want to hear the TV better, or I just want to hear church better? That's great. Amazing. We can help you with that. And your subjective need is not reduced by the fact that there's 5 scientifically neuroscience proven peer-reviewed journal, American Medical Journal, 5 actual medical benefits to treating hearing loss and tinnitus. And those are listed on the side of the screen as well. So if you want to take something big out of here about your marketing message and how to communicate with people and how to create a sense of urgency, how to get people to fly across the country, how to get people to spend money that they weren't planning on spending. Disney does this really well. Phonak does this really well. You need to start talking differently. And the reason that we don't see this in more stock marketing is because people are afraid to talk about pain. People are afraid to talk about symptoms. People are afraid that it's too big for their scope of practice. But there is nothing more important to what we do every single day than helping the patient. And I don't think anything shown on this screen is outside of helping another human being. So our approach that we teach, this is just one screenshot, like I said, our approach that we teach is the trusted empathetic authority that involves a lot of things, that involves the whole marketing journey, the whole patient journey, the whole treatment journey. It does not involve just advertising. The number one most frustrating thing people ask me is, Jared, can I have the marketing piece? And I'm like, no, because giving you the marketing piece is like giving a 6-year-old the keys to an A1 Bradley tank. They're not going to know how to use it. And if they do use it, they're going to cause more destruction, more mistrust, more broken promises to patients. So what we coach on and what I want to help you do is actually build a marketing system, a marketing approach, a marketing philosophy that will help your private practice into the future. I don't want to give you my best marketing piece, because if you send the marketing piece to the wrong group of patients, you break trust. If you send the marketing piece to the wrong person at the wrong time, you could get a bad Google review. So the number one thing I would do, take a screenshot, join us again in Las Vegas in October. I'd love to have you, is dive deep on your list segmentation. What are the pockets of profitability? What are the pockets of patience? If you're a provider and you don't like profits, you have a bad relationship with money, you don't want to talk about money, you feel guilty for making money, change the word profitability to patience. But I want you to separate out the different types of patients and avatar patients that you have in your practice so that you can communicate the right message at the right time to the right people. And you will see marketing results like you've never seen before. If you do spike marketing and you send the same piece to the same group of people, you're going to continue to lose out on millions of dollars in your practice. You're going to continue to fail patients at the wrong time in their life. These are just 8. I have a whole webinar on pockets of profitability that we can dive into. If you email morgan@audexperts.com, he can get you access to it on our 24/7, 365 training university at AudExperts, morgan@audexperts.com. And you can watch the whole webinar, the whole Marketing 101 series before you show up to Audiology Ascending this October. Also, everything in your business is a formula. So the number of patients you have, the amount of money you spend on marketing, the number of leads you get, the number of appointments you get, it's all a formula. And the number one fear I have is that when people, providers and audiologists go to a product launch, that they get so excited that they come home and they break the formula. They've been talking about the medical treatment of hearing loss, and next thing you know, we're talking about low energy Bluetooth, battery life, and 2 chips instead of 1. You will break more trust. You will ruin that formula faster than you've ever broken trust in your practice because they don't align. They're not wrong. You can make money either way, but the job should be to pick which formulas you want and then follow through with those formulas as they make you a profitable and protected practice. The treatment journey is much more, like I said, than a marketing piece. There's actually a journey. We have a lot of different graphics, a lot of different courses, a lot of different training material. But what we really did, and I'm going to try and relate this back to what Phonak did, is they interrupted, right? They sent you a mailer, they messaged you on LinkedIn, they sent you a green box, a welcome kit, whatever. They interrupted your day-to-day routine. Nobody was sitting in their practice saying, I can't treat more patients because the hearing aid sucks. Wasn't happening. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, you could have treated patients with the same hearing aids you were treating them 10 days ago for the next 4 years. Remember, there's 1.5 billion people out there. It wasn't a product inferiority problem. But now we're pumped up, we're ready, we're energized, and we're ready to go. Great. I still wish we were selling 8-year-old hearing aids because there weren't enough people getting help back then. Then Phonak interacted with you. They got you to commit to come. They got you to buy a plane ticket. They got you to take a picture with a green ball. They got you to take time out of your day. They interacted. And from that moment on, they had you hooked. They began to educate you. They began to fill you with information. They began to help you understand how exciting this was going to be. They built it up for at least 10 days, if not longer. They got you engaged at the welcome reception. They got you engaged at the party. They got you engaged with CEUs and guest speakers and all of the energy. And then what? Your rep said, how many units do you want to buy? They had a conversation with you. Then the sales pitch came. The real reason you were there. The question is, does it die now? How many of you that took a picture with a green blob before you went have talked about it after you went? Did you refer friends? I had clients and people come into Las Vegas, didn't even tell me, like they kept it secret. If you were trying to be an advocate for them, like you want your patients to be an advocate for your practice, where's the green blob you can send me? Where's the referral card you can tell me about? What if you bought 100 units? What if I bought 100 units and you got 100 free? So what happened was they got their transaction, they got their purchase, kind of comes to an end until the next 2-year cycle happens. But take that journey. Think about that. If all you do this weekend is think about what you actually went through, what the profession went through, and you mimic it for your practice, you will grow your business for the next quarter. You will have a record third quarter. You will improve your marketing systems, tools, and tactics. And as you document that journey, you're going to find out that different things happened at different stages. Patients have stages as well. Stage 1, pre-contemplation. That's where we have to interrupt them. They don't even recognize that they have damage to their auditory system, but they do. That's where they're experiencing symptoms, but they brush them off as getting older. That's where they start sitting at home and not going out to the noisy restaurants. They justify it logically. But it's our job to interrupt them at that point. It's our job to educate them at that point. It's our job to engage them at that point and then treat them and help them on that treatment journey. We can dive a mile into this in October. So definitely show up. We're going to talk about it. We have some great guest speakers as well. But here's what our marketing looks like. Here's what patient-focused marketing looks like. Here's what emotions look like. Pain looks like. Fears, frustrations. So this is a handful of messaging from our emotion marketing. We also have some subjective marketing, the things like I want to hear my daughter at the wedding, I want to hear at church, I want to hear on the TV, right? Remember those subjective benefits of treatment? So we have marketing created and we have it in a Dropbox folder. You can get access to it with Morgan, reach out and engage with him and see what options you have. Show up in Las Vegas, you'll get a whole bunch of marketing already built for you. Steve, our graphic artist, is on today. I told Morgan I'm going to promise everybody that comes to October, they're going to get a packet of your third and fourth quarter marketing already branded for your office. So I hope we'll see you at Audiology Ascending. We'll give you the tools to have your best third and fourth quarter ever and to start 2025 right. But this is just one example of emotions. Each one of these have some very, very important things. They do not talk about low energy Bluetooth. They do not talk about chip speed. What they do talk about is the fears, frustrations, and emotions, and they do talk about testimonials. So every single one of these pieces and every one of your pieces should have a real human with a real testimonial with a real story. That's how we're going to help more than 17%. It's not going to be features and benefits. It's going to be on affinity, community, emotion, and medical benefits. Now, what we do after we catch their attention, right? This example is the green blob. This example is what caught everybody's eye. We just did it with emotion. After we catch your attention, after we hook you in the marketing journey, in the marketing process, advertising process, now we go to that next stage where it's my job to educate you before you ever come in. I don't spend 2-hour appointments trying to educate a patient in my practice. We educate you before you come in. We tell you the price before you come in. We make sure you're committed to our treatment approach, not Costco. I don't want somebody sitting in front of my doctor of audiology saying, well, can you give me a better deal? Can you trade me for a bale of hay? I think that's a little too expensive. Do you have a buy one, get one free? Can you imagine that in healthcare? Hey, doc, I need 2 knees. If I buy one, will you give me the other one for free? There's no bartering because the pre-education answers their questions before they come in. So they respond emotionally. Now I give them the tools and the content and the education to make the proper preparations, to understand what treating this will do for their life. This is just a few samples of that. Ultimately, what I want them to do is become educated. And if they become educated and they say, your approach is not for me, that's absolutely fine. It's the same for you guys here today. If you look at this and say, man, this guy is crazy, his practice growth doesn't make sense, I don't want any part of it. All I want to do is run the same mailer to my database that I've always run to my database every 2 years, and I want to pump my sales up for a few months, and then I want to repeat this for the next 14 years of my life in between patients, then you're not the right fit. Don't come to October. Don't come to Audiology Ascending, and definitely don't join our community, because we're fundamentally different. Doesn't mean one's right, doesn't mean one's wrong. But I can tell you what's working, and I can tell you what's not worked for the history of hearing healthcare. This is just a few of Dr. Darrow's books. We've helped our practice owners co-author many of them. We've helped them become the trusted authority in their market, also a magazine, a cookbook. The list does not end. We also have video versions. The goal here, you can use these anytime. You can be part of the Excellence in Audiology Network. It's branded for all of us hearing healthcare professionals. There's some great ones there. Hearing questions, get tinnitus treatment, falling seniors. There is a reason that we're the highest rated practice in America. There is a reason we have over 1,000 5-star reviews in one location. The stuff works, and systems are the solution to what you're doing. It's not one piece. It's not one product. It's not one feature. It's not one benefit. It is your marketing approach. And so I ask you today to make that decision. Do you want to be different than everybody else, or do you just want to be better? You want to be different, or do you want to be better? I hope you have 3 action items so far from today. Here's what I think would be good ones. Once again, these are just for me. These are things you can take a picture of, write down. I think what should have already been done, if you were going to Las Vegas, if you were going to a product launch, if you were going to see a new surgical method, I believe you should have done your own independent research. You can't just trust what other people say. Go check out my clinics, go check out my marketing, go see my Google reviews, go see the reviews of our community at audexperts.com, see what we've done, learn from somebody who's failed before you, learn from somebody who's had success before you, learn from somebody that spends their own money. So what I would have done for the product is I would have gone and done the research. I would test this before I go buy 100 units. I would go see if my patients actually think that it's significantly enough better to pay the increased price. Because I promise you one thing, prices were raised. Phonak raised their prices on you, but they did it with sugar coating. And so you have to ask yourself, am I getting significantly better benefits for a problem that didn't exist before I showed up in Las Vegas? And is it worth it? Is it patient subjectively benefited? Is there science around it? The other thing I think you should do, segment out your list. You should be able to fill out that worksheet that I showed you and tell me how many upgrade eligible patients you have, how many tested not treated patients you have, how many current patients who are overdue you have, how many VIP or referring patients you should have, how many prospects or leads are in your database that we can market to. And the reason that segmenting that list is so important is because you have to send them each a different type of campaign, not a letter, a different type of campaign. You talk to different people different ways. You can't talk to an 8-year-old the same way you talk to an 80-year-old. Same in hearing healthcare marketing. You can also have some social media posts done this week, right? Was there pictures from the event? Are you sharing those with your patient? Are you text messaging out? Did you tell your patients you were going to this new technology event where you're going to find out how they could do better? Did you start planting seeds before you went? Or did it end up being about a trip to Las Vegas and some free flights and some food? Does anybody know you were there? Do your patients know that you were going to learn the next big thing? Or was that only on LinkedIn and the professionals? You probably have some photos and events. You can probably tell some stories, and you can have some pre-event advertising done. That should have probably already been done. It's not too late. It's Friday morning. You have till Monday. You can hit the ground running. What do you do before Monday? I would say your number one thing you should do is decide on your approach. Am I going to go full speed ahead with manufacturer marketing that promotes product over wellness, widget over wellness? Or do I want to go down a medical treatment approach that's working in over 200 practices around the world? Do I want to be different, not better? Decide that, because your internal marketing and your external marketing has to match one another, or you're playing leapfrog and you're breaking trust every single day. It's the vision of your company. It's the vision of your marketing system. Determine a test budget. You have 90 days. It's an unproven in your practice. You might believe what everybody else said, but it's not necessarily proven in your practice. I remember years ago, there was a new product launch. We found out they had bad speaker wires. It cost us a few $100,000 because we jumped all in. We broke what was already working. We were so excited. So determine a test marketing budget. Are you going to spend $10,000 to test this new feature benefit? Are you going to spend $10,000 to try marketing this quarter? Are you going to spend $100,000? And then determine how you're going to track that. How will you know if it was more successful than your old marketing or not? And what I see here is everybody continues their false beliefs. They spend more marketing than they've ever spent after a launch. And they say, man, it was the launch that did it. That new product was so amazing. We had our best month ever. And I'm like, yeah, but you spent 3 times what you normally spend in a month because you were excited. So was it really that it was the new thing, or was it that you spent 3 times the marketing? So you need, remember, data drives decisions, and you need an objective way to track the marketing. You need to contact all your marketing vendors. If you don't have marketing vendors, if you want to know who my team is, excellenceinaudiology.org/shared services, excellenceinaudiology.org/shared services. Justin and the team can show you exactly what we're doing. They can run your automation, your website, your ads, your social media, your video production, anything you need. You can definitely reach out to them. I highly recommend it. I don't have time, and I also don't see patients. So if you see patients, chances are you don't have time to build the marketing systems that are the solution to your future as a private practice owner. I think that before Monday, you should sign up for audiologyascending.com. We'd love to have you in Vegas. We have some great private practice owners. We're going to dive deep on these topics and give you a workbook that helps you go back to your practice and have the best fourth quarter, the best 2025 you've ever had. We'd love to have you there, meet the community, meet the other owners. And if you need absolutely anything, if you need a picture of a slide, if you need something I talked about today, if you want to know more about what I talked about today, email Morgan at AUD Experts. And then within 90 days, I 100% believe whether you use Phonak marketing or another manufacturer's marketing, or you use the medical treatment of hearing loss and tinnitus marketing, you should have the best 90 days you've ever had. Regardless of election in the United States, regardless of economic situations, right now, this energy, this inspiration, and these tools, you should have the best quarter and the best year you've ever had. You should also learn that data drives your decisions, what your benchmarks are, how much you actually pay before the product launch and after the product launch for your cost per lead, your cost per appointment, your cost per treatment. I think every single one of you can do what some of our members have done, which is have live events. I know Susan Swain in Georgia has had a live event or is having one. Nathan Darby, Ashley Brogan's great, Bernice, all of you doing live events absolutely have been huge to reach out and build transformational relationships. And the approach that you learn from is Phonak just did a live event. They could have sent you a mailer that said, we have a new product, please buy it. But they didn't. To Morgan's point, and where we started this day, they found a way to fly you across the country. They found a way to put you in a hotel. They found a way to feed you, give you alcohol, everything that they did to get you to buy. And then we sit back and say, hey, let's run a letter. Let's not be human. Let's not have a transformational relationship. Let's not interact face to face. Let's just try and sell these patients via letter. How fundamentally different is that? Do you think Phonak knows what their cost per lead, appointment, and sale was? Do you think they know that that airplane ticket and hotel was well worth it because you bought 100 units? They knew all of those KPIs before they ever picked that event and spent that money. They had a goal and they executed on that vision. They did a masterclass on it, and you can do the same thing in your practice as well. I also believe in the next 90 days, you should have a marketing automation system with 12 years of educational content. I showed you the white papers. I showed you the books. I showed you the articles. If you work with the team over at Excellence in Audiology, in 90 days, you can have everything that I have in my practice that we've built for 14 years deployed for you. And you can sit back, not see patients, build a practice of growth, build a practice of freedom. Whatever your vision of your practice and your future is, we can help you get there. We've done it time and time again. We'd love to have you at audiologyascending.com. There's a short video here for you. Please reach out to Morgan.
research out there is so vast, and if we stay in our bubbles and we carry on doing what we do every day and carry on with our bad habits, we will never learn to grow, we will never progress, and the field of audiology and independent audiology will start to die. And we need to keep it alive, we need to keep it going, we need to be progressive. And the only way we can do that is by reaching out there and finding the new information and learning and growing.
So we've learned a lot, we've grown a lot, and we're ready to implement new protocols and continue to expand, elevate the field of audiology, elevate our office and our community. So it's been an amazing experience learning another perspective that maybe we were not educated initially in school.
Having owned a practice for 32 years, this has really invigorated my love of audiology, to be falling in love with audiology again.
Doing more of a medical model has really engaged a lot of patients. It's really a twofold benefit because we're getting better engagement with patients. But from a revenue model, I actually have had the best 2 months of my last 5 years.
That is what the future of hearing healthcare looks like. We have to continue to open our minds, open our hearts, and knock down the walls that contain us into some arbitrary scope of practice.
It's completely changed my practice. I've had my practice now for actually it'll be 19 years in May, with 3 locations, and I've traveled to many events all over North America, and this has been completely transforming to my practice. We went from basically being what I would call a hearing aid sales model to a medical hearing treatment center, and my staff and team are so engaged. The patients we've served now for 19 years, many returning patients come back, and from our diagnostics to how we talk to them, the language we use with them, they're just like amazed. So it's just transformed our whole practice.
Looking forward to seeing you guys in Vegas. If there's anything you need, reach out to Morgan. Have a great day, and thanks for sharing your Friday morning